Okay, let's jump straight into this deep dive. We're digging into some really fascinating insights today.
Yeah, it's all drawn from conversations with Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google and Alphabet.
Exactly. And this isn't just like your standard corporate interview stuff.
No, no, our source material really gives us a chance to go deeper.
Into his perspective, right?
Yeah.
His personal journey, how he sees technology's impact over his lifetime.
Which is pretty unique given where he started, and then Google's big strategic moves, especially, with this huge shift to AI.
And his thoughts on where it's all headed,
Mm-hmm.
the challenges, the opportunities.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot to unpack.
Absolutely. Think of it like getting a bit of a shortcut. Understanding tech and AI from someone right at the center of it all.
And someone shaped by a really remarkable story.
Mm-hmm. The source material offers this unique window into what actually drives him, how a giant company like Google handles these seismic shifts in technology.
And what he thinks is truly profound about the era we're all living through right now.
Yeah.
So our mission here for this deep dive is really to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key perspectives from these conversations.
All right.
We want to guide you, the listener, through his unique viewpoint, from those incredibly humble beginnings.
In Chennai.
Yeah, all the way to leading one of the world's biggest, most influential tech companies.
And why should you care?
Let's see.
Well, it's relevant because his story isn't just about tech jargon, right?
No, it's about how technology fundamentally changes lives. It unlocks potential in ways we're maybe only just starting to really get.
And it's actively shaping the future we're all going to live in.
So we're aiming to pull out those aha moments,
Yeah.
the insights about the sheer speed of change, what real innovation looks like, and maybe some of those big, sometimes uncomfortable questions AI is forcing on all of us.
And we have a pretty clear path laid out. We'll start grounding ourselves in his origins, understanding how his early life, his experiences with tech, kind of instilled this particular optimism. Then we'll look at those really vivid historical examples of tech's impact, both for him personally and, more broadly.
Right.
And building on that, we'll shift to Google's strategy, how they tackled these massive, sometimes seemingly crazy bets in the past, like the Chrome browser.
Which seemed nuts at the time.
Totally.
Yeah.
And how that same thinking applies to their current all-in AI strategy.
Okay, so connecting the past to the present.
Exactly. Which leads us into looking closely at some of the specific, really cutting-edge AI stuff he talks about.
Like what?
Everything from how search is changing to totally new interfaces, think AR glasses, and even robotics.
Wow. Okay.
And then finally, we'll zoom out. We'll think about the bigger picture, the broader implications for humanity's future, the potential risks, the incredible opportunities.
And also his thoughts on leadership and maybe what it means to be human in this rapidly accelerating world.
It's quite the journey.
That sounds like a proper deep dive. So yeah, let's unpack this, starting right at the beginning. His roots, those foundational experiences.
Absolutely. Let's start there. Chennai, South India. It's really striking when you hear him describe his upbringing.
Humble beginnings, right?
Very humble. He talks about growing up with his whole family in a two-room apartment.
Wow.
Yeah, it really paints a picture of a childhood where, technology wasn't just readily available. It was scarce, limited.
Which probably made the tech they did get feel even more significant.
Exactly. That scarcity, it wasn't necessarily a disadvantage in his telling. It created this deep appreciation, this real sense of wonder when they did get access to something new.
And because it was rare, even things we think of as simple now must have had this huge impact.
Totally. He shares these really specific, almost like snapshots, these discrete memories of technological change that just stuck with him.
Like the rotary phone.
The rotary phone, yeah. That's maybe the most powerful early one he talks about. He mentions the context there was actually a 5-year waiting list just to get a phone line back then in India.
5 years?
Yeah. So when they finally got one, it wasn't just, oh, cool, a phone. It dramatically changed their lives.
Oh, so.
He remembers people from the whole neighborhood coming over to their house, asking if they could use the phone to call loved ones, maybe people living far away. Their home literally became this, hub of connection for the community.
That's incredible. And the contrast he draws.
Right. He gives this specific story about needing to get blood test results. It meant traveling all the way to the hospital 2 hours each way.
Wow.
And sometimes you'd get there, and the results weren't even ready. You'd have to go back the next day.
Oh, man.
That whole process, hours of travel, uncertainty, anxiety suddenly, with the phone, it became a 5-minute thing.
Just call and check.
Exactly. Seeing that transformation firsthand as a kid,
Yeah.
that was clearly a fundamental light bulb moment for him about the incredible power of technology to just change daily life.
It really puts into perspective how much we take instant communication for granted now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And maybe even more visceral, more fundamental was the memory about running water.
Ah, right. The drought.
Yeah, he describes this period of massive drought in Chennai. No running water in homes. It had to be delivered by trucks.
You had to collect it.
Yep. His family, like everyone else, got a very limited amount, maybe 8 buckets per household. He vividly remembers waiting in line, with his brother, sometimes his mother, just to get those buckets, and then physically carrying them back home. That was just daily life.
That's hard to even imagine for many of us.
And then years later, they get running water installed, and even more significantly, a water heater.
Oh, wow. Hot water on tap.
Exactly.
Uh,
He talks about the sheer convenience, the luxury of just turning a faucet and getting hot water. And he has this amazing quote, something like, "You'll never be able to equal the first time you get hot water."
that feeling must have been incredible.
It wasn't just about being clean, it was this fundamental shift in quality of life, a basic need met effortlessly. It's a feeling that sticks with you because it's so foundational. And that's maybe the key analytical takeaway here, right? Economists talk about exponential growth curves, GDP since the Industrial Revolution, all that.
Sure.
But we sometimes forget these really discrete, fundamental step changes that technology brings to our actual lived experience.
Like going from carrying buckets to turning a tap.
Exactly. It's a monumental leap. Hard to capture on a productivity graph. It's not just faster, it's less burden, better health, more dignity, more time.
It frees you up.
Totally. And then there was the VCR.
Right. Another big step.
He mentions before that they only had one TV channel.
One channel.
Yeah. And convincing his dad to get a VCR sounds like this classic childhood negotiation.
I can imagine.
And when they finally got it, it was a Panasonic bought from a shop that, as he puts it, had kind of smuggled it in.
Okay.
And suddenly they could record a World Cup football game that was on at a crazy hour. They could watch movies on videotapes. It just unlocked entirely new worlds.
The entertainment culture.
Exactly. Again, these distinct, memorable moments that just kept reinforcing this feeling for him. Technology doesn't just tweak things, it drives a step change. It fundamentally alters what's possible in your life.
So it wasn't just about convenience, it was about access.
Hmm.
Access to connection, to basic needs, to culture.
Precisely. And speaking of access, he also reflects on getting information before computers and the internet.
Right. A different world.
He talks about having a lot more free time back then, which sounds almost alien now, and actively seeking quiet solitude. Information came mainly from physical newspapers and books.
And his grandfather played a role
A
there.
big role, yeah. His grandfather worked in the post office, was skilled with language, had beautiful handwriting apparently, and crucially, he introduced young Sundar to a really wide range of books.
What kind of stuff?
A real mix, everything from Ayn Rand to philosophy to crime novels.
Wow, diverse.
Yeah. So this early deep dive into books, this hunger for knowledge, coupled with the initial scarcity of other info sources, you can see how that resonates deeply with Google's mission later on.
Access to information.
He put it really simply. Access to knowledge was there, so that's the wealth we had.
That's powerful. Knowledge as wealth.
Isn't it? It frames how he saw resources, opportunity, and the potential for tech to democratize access to that wealth.
So the big takeaway from his early life is what?
It's this deep, almost visceral understanding born from firsthand experience of how technology can dramatically improve life. It wasn't theory, it was lived reality.
A subliminal takeaway, he called it.
Exactly. That shaped his perspective. This experience of tech as a force for fundamental positive change gave him this really powerful, optimistic foundation. You can see how that would fuel leading a company focused on making information accessible.
That definitely provides a really compelling background for understanding his drive. Okay, so let's pivot from those personal origins to how that view showed up in Google's strategy, how they approach those big, ambitious bets, like the Chrome browser story. Right. Section 2, then. Google's evolution from Chrome's revolution to an AI-first strategy.
Yeah, the Chrome story is fascinating. He clearly looks back on it with pride, Partly because, like you said, it really started as a crazy idea inside Google.
What was the context? Mid-2000s.
Yeah, around 2004, 2005, it was a really dynamic time for the web. Technologies like Ajax were just taking off.
Right, enabling things like Flickr, the early Gmail, Google Maps. Sites were becoming actual applications.
Exactly. They weren't just static pages anymore. They were interactive software experiences, but running in the browser.
And the existing browsers weren't really built for that.
Not at all. That was a core problem. Their JavaScript was slow. They weren't designed to be robust platforms for complex apps. So Pichai and the team had this vision. Let's build a browser that is designed as an operating system for this modern web.
What did that mean, practically?
It meant baking in core OS principles, things like security sandboxes, isolating each tab so if one website crashed, it wouldn't bring down your whole browser. That was actually pretty radical then. Yeah, I remember that feeling revolutionary. And they needed new tech to do it.
For sure. He mentions getting a browser shell based on WebKit running really fast. And a huge moment was finding this small team in Denmark.
Ah, the V8 engine folks.
Exactly. The V8 JavaScript VM, he notes it was something like 25 times faster than other options at the time. That was absolutely foundational for making those dynamic web apps actually usable.
And they open sourced a lot of it too, right? Chromium?
They did, which was key. The goal wasn't just Google's browser, but making the whole web platform faster, safer, and the name Chrome.
Yeah, why Chrome?
It reflected that design philosophy. They wanted to minimize the browser's interface, the actual Chrome around the edges, to let the web content itself be the star, the focus.
But building a browser from scratch?
Yeah.
That must have seemed daunting.
Oh, totally. Within the industry, even inside Google to some extent, it was seen as incredibly difficult, maybe even pointless, a crazy thing to try. There was a lot of doubt.
So how do they push it through?
Pichai talks about needing support from the top. He credits Eric Schmidt, the CEO then, who apparently knew it was crazy but was supportive, the founders too. But ultimately, he says, the product spoke for itself once people actually used it. The speed, the stability, that was the proof.
And he connects this whole experience to Google's moonshot philosophy.
Directly. He believes taking on these huge, ambitious projects is actually how you attract the absolute best, most driven people.
Because the challenge is exciting.
Exactly. And often, there's less competition because others think it's just too hard. Plus, he makes this interesting point. Even if you only get, say, 60% or 80% of the way to that massive goal, it's still often a terrific success because the target was so high.
Right. Aiming high has its own rewards.
Yeah, he feels people sometimes underestimate those advantages of going for the really big, transformative ideas.
And you can see how that philosophy, that DNA, carried forward into how they're approaching AI now.
Absolutely. That mindset spot a huge opportunity. Make a bold long-term bet, even if people are skeptical. Get the best talent that directly informed Google's shift to AI. Pichai basically says his most consequential bet as CEO was making sure Google approached everything in an AI-first way.
Which meant more than just adding AI features.
Much more. It meant fundamentally reorienting the company, setting up the infrastructure the teams needed to develop really advanced AI, working towards AGI, but doing it responsibly, he stresses, and putting useful AI products out there.
And he definitely faced some heat for that, didn't he? Especially last year when maybe it looked like they were lagging a bit in generative AI.
Oh, yeah. He mentions seeing articles saying he was the wrong guy, Google was lost, done over.
How did he handle that?
He talks about being pretty good at tuning out noise, the unproductive criticism, but always listening for the signals, the valid feedback. He uses a great scuba diving analogy.
Oh, yeah.
The surface can be super choppy, noisy, chaotic, but just go 1 foot down and it's the calmest, quietest place. He tries to separate that external perception from the internal reality of what they were actually building.
Because he knew what was coming, like Gemini, the TPUs.
Exactly. He emphasizes that leaders make tons of decisions, but only a few are truly consequential, shaping the long term. For him, going all in on AI, merging those key research teams, investing heavily in infrastructure like their custom TPUs, those were the critical calls.
And the TPU investment, that was a long game, wasn't it?
A very long game. He mentions they decided to build their own AI chips over 10 years ago, but actually ramping up that infrastructure, getting to the scale of TPUs too, that took years of quiet, massive investment that wasn't always obvious from the outside.
So while people were criticizing, he felt confident because he saw the internal progress.
Pretty much. He says his motivation came from seeing that internal trajectory. He was genuinely excited about the sheer size of the opportunity with AI, bigger than anything Google had done before, he thinks. And he believed Google, with its research depth and infrastructure, was actually really well positioned, despite the noise.
And a huge part of that internal positioning was merging DeepMind and Google Brain, right? That must have been tough.
Incredibly tough. He calls it one of the most significant and maybe most challenging organizational moves, merging two world-class teams with different cultures, different approaches.
Like merging Stanford and MIT's CS departments, he said.
Exactly. Easier said than done. Brain was more diverse, bottom-up projects. DeepMind had this very strong, focused AGI vision. Integrating them wasn't simple.
How do they manage it?
He says they were helped by some key people shifts. Jeff Dean wanting to focus more on research opened things up. Demis Hassabis from DeepMind was the natural choice to lead the combined group, Google DeepMind. But Taneda admits it took time, sleepless nights, patience. He gives huge credit to the leaders on both sides who made it happen.
And he mentioned the cultural part was important too, getting them to work together physically.
Yeah, that was crucial. Not just org charts, but getting teams in London and Mountain View at the Gradient Canopy building to genuinely collaborate, share ideas, build a unified culture. He made a point of walking over there regularly, seeing researchers, talking tech. Sergey Brin was apparently often there too, deep in the models. That visible focus on integrating the research culture was key.
And his leadership style through all that pressure and complexity. The interviewer noted he seemed humble, balanced.
Yeah, which maybe contrasts with the stereotype of a hard-charging CEO. Pichai acknowledges he gets angry or frustrated, but he's found that, losing your shit has not been productive. It's often not necessary.
So how does he lead?
He talks about man management, like in sports coaching. Finding mission-driven people with that inner fire, then motivating them effectively. Sometimes that needs firmness, directness. Other times, silence or just listening is better. Sometimes less is more, he says. The right words at the right time, or just trusting talented people, hearing everyone out on big decisions, but then having conviction to disagree and commit and move forward.
So, okay, coming from seeing tech change lives, shaped by this moonshot culture, Google doubles down on AI. Big organizational shifts, a specific leadership style, navigating it all.
Right, which brings us perfectly to what they're actually doing with AI now.
Yeah.
The cutting edge stuff.
Let's get into that. The key innovations, the impact. Starting with search, that's fundamental.
Section 3, key AI innovations and their immediate impact. Yeah, search. As Pichai calls it, the front page of the internet for billions. For ages, it was that super minimalist page, 10 blue links.
Yes.
But it's always been evolving, right? Like when mobile came along, people wanted more direct answers, not just links. But this current evolution, with AI mode, AI overviews, he calls it dramatically different because the underlying tech, the large language models, are just so much more capable. They can understand, synthesize, generate info in ways nothing before could.
So what are the design goals with this new AI search?
Two main things. Provide context and summary right there on the results page. Get quick answers, understand complex stuff faster. But, and this is critical, it's still designed to drive users to the web.
So the links are still key.
Absolutely. Giving access to the original sources, the human-created content, that's still a core principle. AI acts as this intelligent layer on top, providing context, summary. And AI mode takes it further, letting you have a conversation, a back and forth on your journey.
And how does it work under the hood? What's the tech?
It's using their best models, treating search itself like a tool the AI uses. He mentioned query fan out.
Query fan out?
Yeah, so for a complex question, the AI model effectively does multiple related searches simultaneously, pulls info from various sources, and then assembles that knowledge into the overview or the answer, like a super fast research assistant.
Yeah, it's clever.
And one point he really stresses, which could be huge globally, is language accessibility.
How so?
With Gemini's translation and reasoning, this makes the web way richer for non-English speakers. He points out the web in many languages is just much smaller than the English web. AI translation plus reasoning doesn't just translate words, it unlocks the reasoning process using the vast English web, effectively unlocking, as he puts it, the cognitive capabilities of the entire 8 billion, regardless of language.
Wow, that's a profound idea, democratizing not just info, but the ability to process it.
Isn't it? It's a massive potential impact we maybe don't talk about enough.
Are they seeing results yet?
Yeah. He says AI overviews have improved a lot, driven strong product growth, and early metrics for AI mode, which millions now have access to, are very encouraging. People are using it.
And the future. Where does AI mode go?
He sees it as a separate tab for now, the bleeding edge experience. But successful features will likely migrate to the main search page over time. It's a continuum. But again, he reiterates, the core principle of sending users to the human-created web remains central.
It must be exciting, but also slightly terrifying, watching how user behavior might change the whole internet experience.
He admits it's a little bit scary, yeah.
Mhm.
But interestingly, their data suggests AI search actually fuels curiosity, not kills it.
Really? How?
People ask more questions, longer questions, different types of questions, and crucially, it seems to deliver higher quality referrals to websites, meaning when people do click through, they're more likely to find what they wanted because the AI helped clarify their intent.
That still makes content creators nervous. Right. Journalists, bloggers relying on search traffic.
Understandably. Pichai stresses Google's commitment to supporting news and journalism, sees it as an important role and a differentiator. He views crowdsourced info and high-quality journalism as complementary, serving different needs.
What about bias in the AI and controlling the output?
They touched on that. Pichai notes the latest Gemini models are actually pretty good at providing objective criticism, nuanced perspectives, maybe even better than some journalism for now in certain areas. The huge challenge is scaling that across billions of often weird queries.
Right. And the elephant in the room, ads. How do ads fit into AI search?
Yeah. He points out ads are commercial information, which is still information users often want. It funds these free services for billions.
Sure.
Early AI mode is focused on the organic experience, but he thinks AI might actually help figure out the best way to present commercial info in this new setup, maybe more explanatory. The underlying need for ads remains if you want mass accessibility, but the approach needs rethinking, maybe a mix of subscriptions and ads like YouTube.
Which leads to this idea of maybe two webs emerging. One for humans, one for AI agents.
He thinks both will coexist. Websites might get richer and more interesting, maybe even AI designed for humans. And the agentic web for automated tasks will progress too, but it needs different designs, different business models.
Okay, so search is undergoing this huge transformation. What about completely new interfaces? Beam and XR glasses.
Yeah, moving beyond screens. He talks about Beam, this real-time 3D telepresence demo, says it's incredibly hard to describe but felt profoundly real. Incredible engineering.
How does it work?
An AI video model processes screens from 6 cameras, creates this dynamic 3D light field representation, transmits it to a special display, and it's bidirectional so you can interact.
And the effect is presence.
Exactly, a real sense of presence, feeling like you're sharing a table, seeing depth. Subtle cues matter, like spatialized audio, hearing the voice from where they appear. He mentioned a demo trying a high five, which highlighted that feeling of sharing space, even though physically impossible.
What are the applications?
Remote work, creating that boardroom feel, connecting with family far away, supporting deployed soldiers. He's clear, nothing fully replaces being there, but it's a massive step up when you can't be. And it's designed to be easy. No scanning, just cameras capturing reality.
And then the XR glasses.
Yeah.
Built on Android XR.
Right. The goal: stylish, lightweight glasses, fundamentally a multimodal conversational device.
That you see, hear what you hear.
That's the core idea. Camera understands visuals, mics get audio, speakers give output, simple home screen time, weather, calendar. But the real power is being fully conversational. Ask questions about your surroundings, interrupt, follow up naturally.
And AI is the key to making that work smoothly.
Absolutely essential. Project Astra, their AI agent demo, is critical for that fluid input-output in AR. The AI needs context from sight and sound.
What kind of examples did he give?
Asking about a painting you're looking at. Using maps for navigation with subtle overlays, glance up for the turn down at your feet. Real-time translation, seeing Russian spoken translated into English subtitles right in front of you. Subtitles for the real world.
Wow.
What stands out is the focus on the little stuff. No lag, smooth transitions, useful but minimal info so it doesn't distract from reality. It's a chance to completely rethink the mobile OS, less apps, more agentic, an AI assistant that understands your goals and context proactively.
Sounds futuristic, but he thinks it's close.
He calls it a good moonshot, but much closer to reality than some other ideas. Expects developer versions this year, maybe consumers next year.
Okay, and finally, connecting AI to the physical world even more directly. Robotics and Waymo.
Yeah. He's proud of Waymo's progress with self-driving, acknowledges they're in that tough final 20%, which takes 80% of the effort handling all the real-world edge cases. But he says he knew the tech gap could be closed, even when others doubted, which is why Google invested more then.
And they've had real success.
Over 10 million paid robotaxi rides. He stresses prioritizing ambition and safety equally, scaling up significantly this year and next.
How does he see it versus Tesla?
He mentions Google was an early SpaceX investor, so respect for ambitious engineering there, but clarifies Waymo isn't making cars. They're building the L45 autonomous driver, a general-purpose system. Tesla's making its cars self-driving. Assumes Elon will succeed, but sees vast spaces for both.
And he connects self-driving back to that AI package idea.
Yeah, like the Neolithic package. Sees autonomous vehicles as a big thing that changes everything, potentially a complete shift away from manual driving, with huge social and cultural effects beyond just economics.
And Waymo leads into broader robotics.
Exactly. Waymo is a robot on wheels. Google's DeepMind robotics team, Gemini Robotics, is heavily invested. AI is finally unlocking progress there, solving software challenges after hardware improved, pushing the frontier of getting generalized AI models to work safely in the messy, real world.
It's incredible how AI threads through everything: information, human connection, new interfaces, the physical world. Okay, let's pull back again. Zoom out to his broader view on AI's future. The impact, the risks, human potential.
Section 4. The broader future of AI impact, risks, and human potential. Yeah, this is where we get into the really big questions. Remember that statement Pichai made years ago, 2017, 2018?
The one calling AI the most profound technology humanity will ever work on. More profound than fire or electricity.
That's the one. And he stands by it today.
Really? Even acknowledging potential recency bias.
Yep. He argues from first principles that he genuinely believes AI will be bigger.
Why? What's his reasoning?
Several things. It's progressing so fast, becoming so capable, and crucially, he says it's not clear what the ceiling is, plus it's recursively self-improving.
AI improving itself.
Exactly. He calls it the first technology that will kind of dramatically accelerate creation itself, including maybe AI research itself if it hits superhuman levels there. That recursive potential puts it in a different league.
And he brings back that AI package idea, like the Neolithic Revolution.
Yeah, not just one invention, but a whole network of innovations popping up because of it. Pottery, social structures, government, trade, all downstream from agriculture. Hard to predict up front.
So what are the early parts of the AI package he sees emerging?
One huge one. Translating thoughts into existence more easily. Look at coding progress with AI. It's empowering people to build things, express ideas into reality much faster. And he says, compellingly, this is the worst it'll ever be, meaning it only gets easier from here.
Which means more creativity.
An exponential increase in access to creativity. He uses the YouTube analogy unlocked video for maybe millions. With AI, thinks it'll be tens of millions, maybe a billion people putting out things into the world in a deeper way, fundamentally changing the landscape of creativity.
Which again makes people nervous about jobs, right? Media, content creation.
For sure, and it makes you think about what humans will uniquely value. He suggests premium experiences, the human essence.
The messy analogy.
Right. An AI might dribble better, technically, but it won't evoke that feeling, that awe at human genius and artistry. Same with information. AI gets facts instantly, but there's value in humans struggling with the information, the discovery process. It changes how we discover, consume, create.
He seems really bullish on the scale of creativity being unleashed.
Hugely. Thinks the expansionary aspect is underestimated. Uses the analogy of bringing someone from the 40s, 50s to see YouTube today mind-blowing. He thinks we'll feel similarly about AI's creative output in 10, 20 years.
What about purely AI-generated content? Does he see a future where AI makes most of it?
He throws out a number, maybe 50% of good content generated by AI eventually, depending on the field, like CGI in movies already. But he also sees AI tools becoming like Google Docs for writers, just part of the workflow, not a big deal.
Which leads to the responsibility question for Google, right? Providing tools versus controlling output.
Exactly. It's a challenge. Artists push boundaries. Providing tools, a paintbrush for free expression is important. But society has to grapple with what's acceptable. Google aims to be responsible.
He made an interesting point about model behavior changing, becoming less careful, but maybe more factual.
Yeah, comparing earlier Gemini to 2.5 Pro. found the newer one better at handling difficult historical topics. Genghis Khan, Aztecs, WWWWWY violence, with more nuance, less avoidance. He thinks as models get more capable, they reason better about complexity. And users want access to that raw model. The direction is towards allowing more and more closer access, maybe custom prompts, first principles, models reasoning from the ground up, not hard-coded filters.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, what about scaling laws? Are we going to hit a wall just making models bigger?
That's a hot topic internally, a micro-kitchen conversation. His view, they see a lot of headroom ahead. Progress on all fronts, pre-training, post-training, compute, tool use, agents, world models, physics. Researchers feel there's more runway.
So the limit isn't capability, it's compute.
Compute in the sense of deploying the absolute best models widely and cheaply. That's why you get Flash Pro widely, while Ultra is more niche, more expensive. But Next Gen Pro is like previous Ultra, but faster, cheaper. So scaling laws are working in that sense. Efficiency and capability improve together.
And measuring intelligence gets harder.
Yeah, benchmarks alone aren't enough. Need to measure impact, effectiveness, usefulness. Sometimes low latency is more important than a slightly higher benchmark score.
Which brings us to AGI, ASI, and AGI.
Right. AGI, human expert level. ASI, superintelligence, and his term AJI, artificial jacket intelligence. Rapid progress, but still weird errors. He thinks we're firmly in the AJI phase now.
Seeing glimpses of AGI, though.
Yeah, in specific areas.
Yeah.
Waymo, navigating complex cities. Project Astra, understanding surroundings. Skinny building, streetlight.
Timeline for AGI.
Hard to say, the line moves. He doubts by 2030, maybe slightly after that.
But the impact will be felt sooner.
That's his strong conviction. It doesn't matter what that definition is, because by 2030, progress will be so dramatic, we'll be dealing with the consequences, good and bad, in a big way.
And P-Doom, the existential risk. Another micro-kitchen topic.
Apparently, he acknowledges they think about risks, work hard to steer AI for good.
But he's optimistic about avoiding doom.
He is. Thinks if P-Doom was really high, humanity would collectively align to prevent it.
Yeah.
A self-modulating aspect. Faith in humanity rising up to meet that moment.
He has an interesting counter-argument.
Right. What's P-Doom without AI? Humans have other ways to mess things up. AI could actually help solve those other problems, make us smarter, kinder, more efficient, reduce resource conflicts. Could be the thing that saves civilization, not destroys it. A powerful pair helping you.
That's a compelling reframe.
Yeah.
And finally, he links AI back to interfaces.
Yeah. Big computing shifts came with new interfaces. GUI, multi-touch, voice. AR is next.
And AI makes AR work seamlessly.
Essential for it. Makes the IO natural Project Astra.
And lets us rethink the OS itself. Make it more agentic.
Exactly. More proactive, understanding user goals. He even wonders if AI could get on a self-improving track for UI, designing better interfaces itself over time.
So, despite the risks, his overall view is incredibly optimistic about AI's transformative potential.
Deeply optimistic. Sees it as the most profound technology, unlocking creativity, solving problems, guiding humanity forward.
Okay, let's shift to the final section. Leadership, purpose, the human element. We touched on his style. Humble, balanced.
Section 5, leadership, purpose, and the human element. Yeah, the interviewer noted that, contrasting it with maybe a more cutthroat stereotype.
And Pichai's take. He gets angry, but...
Finds losing your shit has not been productive. It's often not needed. He focuses on man management, like a sports coach.
Finding driven people and motivating them.
Right. Understanding how to get the best out of the team. Sometimes firmness, sometimes silence, sometimes less is more, the right words at the right time, or just trust.
There was that interesting little tangent about Messi versus Ronaldo.
Yeah. His pick was Messi, and his reason was telling. That humans are able to achieve that level of greatness and genius and artistry. Admired Ronaldo's commitment, but artistry for Messi stood out.
Connecting back to AI, that human artistry is hard for AI to replicate.
That's his point. That level of genius, the emotion it evokes. Maybe impossible for AI. It highlights the human essence, something special, hard to quantify.
What about his advice for young people inspired by his journey?
A mix of acknowledging luck, but needing smart choices. Core advice. Listen to your heart more than just your head. Do you actually enjoy doing it? Loving it makes the hard work easier, brings out your best.
And work with people better than you.
Definitely. People who stretch your abilities, put yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow. Be open-minded.
Okay, a big practical concern now, AI and programming jobs. Developers are worried.
He tackles it directly, shares Google's data. AI suggests maybe 30% of code internally?
But engineering velocity is up 10%.
Exactly. That's the key metric he stresses. How fast and effectively they deliver features. It's increased.
And they're still hiring engineers.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity space is expanding.
That's his argument. AI enables new kinds of software, so you need more engineers, not fewer.
So the impact on engineers is positive. Frees them from grunt work.
You think so? Lets them focus on design, architecture, problem solving, makes coding even more fun.
And more people creating things means more need for engineers overall, like the chess analogy.
Right. More people play chess now than ever, despite AI mastery. His advice to programmers, adopt the tools, become better programmers.
And he sees potential for much bigger productivity gains, like 2x.
He thinks it's possible with better AI agent capabilities, leading to more job satisfaction. Plus, AI improving code-base quality, helping with refactoring. Tools like Cursor that understand the whole codebase are a huge unlock.
How does this change coding interviews?
Need to adapt. Still need fundamentals checks in person, but using AI tools effectively is now an asset. His advice for students: study CS if you're passionate. It's more than programming. It's first principles thinking, valuable everywhere as AI spreads.
Circling back to philosophy, what makes humans special?
Hard to pin down, he admits. Maybe consciousness, something uniquely human. Lines might blur.
But he has this hope. If resources become more plentiful thanks to tech,
Yeah, less zero-sum conflict. Maybe values like empathy, kindness surface more. AI can multiply compassion, curiosity.
and humans will still pursue science, even with AI help.
Absolutely. The drive isn't just answers, but asking the questions, the self-discovery process. AI as a co-scientist, like AlphaFold, Alpha Evolve.
So his final outlook on human civilization, still optimistic.
Very much an optimist, looks at the long arc. Humanity has relentlessly made the world better. Asks himself, would you rather be born now or in the past? Almost always would rather be born now. That's the extraordinary thing civilization has achieved.
And he believes humanity will keep rising to challenges.
Faith in humanity. Believes we'll always rise collectively to drive that frontier forward. Expects the same for the AI era, so quite a journey we've covered. From Pichai's personal story, those early tech experiences, through Google's big strategic bets, Chrome, then AI exploring the cutting-edge innovations in search, interfaces like Beam and XR, robotics, and finally pondering these huge future implications: creativity, jobs, risks, humanity itself.
Yeah, and seeing that recurring theme. Technology creating these interconnected packages of change. Like the Neolithic Revolution wasn't just farming, it led to villages, government, trade, or the internet created whole new industries.
Exactly. And the AI package with autonomous vehicles, science breakthroughs, unlocked creativity, new interfaces that's really just starting to unfold. It promises systemic changes we're only beginning to imagine.
And this deep dive, drawing on Pichai's view from the inside, hopefully gives you, the listener, a bit of shortcut to grasping these complex shifts. Some perspective on the sheer speed and scale of change happening right now.
Absolutely. It offers that unique viewpoint.
And it really leaves us with a powerful question to think about, doesn't it? Building on his vision of AI, making resources more plentiful, automating tasks. If AI really does free up so much human time and potential, how will we collectively decide what activities are most meaningful, what pursuits truly define us, and how do we organize society around fostering those uniquely human endeavors?
That's definitely something to mull over as we navigate this future. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.